Trump's talking on Ukraine right now.
Lots of mentions of the word deal there.
President Trump, of empty shelves in the coming weeks.
So when I put tariffs on Canada, they're paying 25%, but that could go up. Again, we don't really want Canada to make cars for us.
Have you heard the absurdity? Trump just claimed that Canada would cease to exist without the US spending $200 billion annually to support us.
I'm running this country, I'm not running Canada. And that's why I asked Trudeau, who I call Governor Trudeau affectionately, but I asked him, why are we spending $200 billion to support Canada, to subsidize Canada? And he was unable to answer the question. I mean, why are we doing that? And I have to be honest, as a state, it works great, because if they didn't have us, and if we didn't spend that money, as Trudeau told me, they would cease to exist. He said that to me. They would cease to exist, which is true, certainly as a country.
This statement is not only false, but also very dismissive of Canada's sovereignty and economic strength. According to Statistics Canada, Canada's merchandise trade surplus with the US was $102.3 billion in 2024, down from $108.3 billion in 2023, but still substantial. Just to be clear, Canada is not some helpless, tag-along economy. We're a major player. Our GDP in 2024 was over $2.1 trillion. We're one of the top 10 economies in the world. So no, we're not living in anyone's basement rent-free. The whole We Fund Canada line is pure fiction. It's a political version of a group project where the guy who showed up once thinks he did everything. Let's talk cars, because that's where this whole mess is heading. Trump's threatening to jack up tariffs on Canadian-made automobiles again. He's already got a 25% tariff on car parts, but now he wants more. His words exactly, "We don't want your cars, in all due respect."
I don't want cars from Canada. So when I put tariffs on Canada, they're paying 25%, but that could go up in terms of cars. When we put tariffs on, all we're doing is we're saying, we don't want your cars, in all due respect. We want really to make our own cars, which is what we're doing in record numbers now. You know, we're going to be at record levels in a very near future because of all the plants, the car plants that are being built.
Okay, but let's talk about how wild that statement actually is. Canada makes cars, a lot of them. We're not some niche boutique garage operation. In 2023, we produced over 1.5 million vehicles. That made us the 12th biggest car producing country in the world. And guess what? Most of those cars, around 85%, go straight to the US. But here's the kicker. Those cars aren't just Canadian, they're North American. For every car we export, nearly half of the parts inside come from American suppliers. It's all integrated. Slapping tariffs on Canadian cars doesn't just hurt us, it hits the US workers and factories too. Here's a reality check. For every Canadian vehicle exported to the US, nearly half of its parts are made in America. This means that imposing tariffs on Canadian vehicles would inadvertently harm American manufacturers and workers.
On tariffs, you just mentioned that 25% could go up on cars in terms of Canada. Does that mean that you're considering changes to the auto tariffs and auto parts?
No, we're not considering it now, but at some point it could go up, yeah, because again, we don't really want Canada to make cars for us.
And hey, while we're on this roller coaster of absurdity, if you're still watching and shaking your head along with me, hit that like button and subscribe. It tells the algorithm that people actually care about this stuff and like it. And it helps those stories get in front of more folks who probably have no clue this is even happening. Seriously, it makes a huge difference and I really appreciate it. Okay, let's zoom out for 1 second. Trump keeps pushing this idea that the US is the sugar daddy of North America, dropping $200 billion to support Canada. But there's zero evidence to back that number, like none. And let's be real, that's not how international trade works. Trade isn't like a charity, it's mutual benefit. Canada and the US are each other's largest trading partners. Our economies are locked together, especially when it comes to automobiles. In 2023, Canada exported $68 billion worth of vehicles and auto parts to the US and imported $54.2 billion in return. It's not a handout, it's a handshake. And the people who actually built these cars?
He's not even thinking about the companies. Let's take Canada out of it. These are US companies he's impacting. These are companies that have, for instance, I represent Ford workers. They have 26 plants in Canada. We have 3. I have, just under 2,000 workers I represent that build the engines for these vehicles that supply 15,000 workers jobs.
They're not just in Detroit, they're in Windsor, in Oakville, in Oshawa. Canadian towns that literally keep the wheels turning. And these aren't small-time jobs. The auto sector directly employs over 125,000 people in Canada. And when you count indirect jobs, that number jumps past 700,000. We're talking about entire communities that depend on this. Ford, GM, Stellantis, these companies don't see a border. Their factories span the continent. Ford alone has 26 plants in Canada. Thousands of Canadians build engines and parts that end up in vehicles driven in every US state. Consider this for a minute. Disrupting the integrated North American automotive supply chain could lead to increased vehicle prices and job losses in both countries. Experts warn that such tariffs could raise vehicle prices by thousands of dollars and complicate supply chains that have been optimized over decades. And get this, US auto execs have already told Trump that this is a bad idea. They've shown him the maps, the logistics, the economics, but he keeps going, why?
They're going to hurt us as employees. They're going to hurt the employees. They're going to hurt the US employees by doing this. This makes absolute no sense, and I don't understand his logic whatsoever, or the people around him, to be quite frank with you.
Honestly, probably because it plays well with his base. It's a classic strongman routine. We're the boss, they need us, we don't need them. Except it's just simply not true. It's never been true. We're a sovereign nation, not some weird annexed territory. With Canadian auto jobs still recovering from supply chain issues and EV transitions, this kind of instability makes people super nervous. And not just in Canada. Workers in Michigan, Ohio, Kentucky, they'd all feel the ripple effects if this goes sideways. So what now? Honestly, I have no idea. Trump said tariffs could go higher, but gave zero details. Not how much, not when, not what products, no plan, just verbal diarrhea. There's pushback from the US auto industry, but no guarantee he'll listen. Meanwhile, people on both sides of the border are stuck in limbo, wondering if their job, their paycheck, their local dealership is going to get steamrolled by a political stunt. So in conclusion, the narrative that Canada is dependent on US subsides is not only inaccurate, but also undermines the collaborative and mutually beneficial relationship between our two countries. It's crucial to recognize the facts and maintain a partnership that supports economic growth and stability on both sides of the border. All right, guys, if you're into content like this, please give me a big thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next video. It also tells YouTube that this stuff matters and that more people should see it. And hey, next time someone calls us the 51st state, remind them that we're the ones keeping their engines running. I'll see you on the next video.